I'll go for 2 minutes myself on it.
Go ahead.
On this episode of Infinity Sports, we've got a lineup of football, some basketball, and potentially some Eddie Murphy talk that Nick brought up. I disagreed with it, but he really wanted to talk about it, so we will. Right up after this 8-second break. What's going on, everybody? I'm Wayne G. I'm joined, as always, with Sully. What's going on?
What's good, bro?
And Nick P. What's going on?
What's up? I'm looking at the screen because Sully said I look at my phone too much.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm laser focused on it.
Laser focused today.
Yeah,
Nick Kellerman, a.k.a. Nick Bayless, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Until we come up with a better nickname, because I don't like either one of those people, but I get it.
I said, the more you dislike it, the more I like it.
Exactly. Okay. You're just playing into Wayne at that point.
The big news is Dak Prescott. I thought for sure they were going to franchise him again. It was going to be a long, drawn-out thing again, and they ended up working out a deal, 4 years, which is what he wanted. I think last year he didn't want the fifth year, so they gave him the 4, $160 million, $126 guaranteed, which is the most ever guaranteed. He's going to get $66 million in the first year, but it works out obviously doing AAV about $40 million per year. And personally, I'll get you guys' opinions. I love the deal for Dallas. I don't think they had really any other options other than trading away a bunch of first-round picks, and they still have a ton of holes they have to fill. So I think just signing your guy, that makes the most sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, I think Dak is the real winner here. I don't think Dallas loses in any way, really, because, I mean, I think we can all agree we all like Dak and the potential he brings. But, I mean, I don't know. The track record of these contracts doesn't really work out for the team well. Carson Wentz signed a massive deal, gone. Jared Goff, massive deal, gone. Deshaun Watson, massive deal, most likely gone. The only one it's worked on is Patrick Mahomes. And, I mean, I think we can all agree that he's not the same as everybody else. He's a freak of nature and a gift from, our Lord Jesus, the Savior, thankful. And we should all be thankful we get to watch him. But I don't know if I love it because the 40 AAV I think is pretty massive. I think they would have been better at around 35. I think last year the deal on the table that Dak apparently wanted was for only 35. So Dak has made money in this time. Also, the 126 guaranteed. I know it sounds big, but I think that allows them to cut him. In year 2 or 3, because there won't be, or in year 3 or 4, because there won't be a ton of dead money, if they need to. So I think that's why they did it that way, which I think is smart for Dallas. But again, I don't know. Anytime you're making $40 million a year and your name isn't Patrick Mahomes, I don't really like the future of your football team.
Any thoughts, Nick?
He's on his phone. Nick, you there?
I don't know if he can hear us.
I don't know what he's doing, but
sorry, my Bluetooth disconnected.
Oh, okay. We're literally like, hey.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. So my whole thing with Dak Prescott is I thought that it was like Wayne, you kind of pointed me in this direction, actually. Dak, or actually you both did. So Dak is a top 10 quarterback. I think that's probably fair to say right now. And the going rate for a top 10 quarterback in the league is right around $30 million. Now, in my head, I'm thinking Dak's a top 10 quarterback. He's probably in that upper tier of the top 10. But then I started looking at his numbers and realizing he only had one season so far where he's thrown 30 touchdowns. I was like, that's tough. I'm like, $40 million for a guy like that that's a lot of money for Dallas to commit for a team that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Sully, they had the 32nd ranked defense last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, you commit all that money to a quarterback who's getting you maybe 30 touchdowns in a season. I don't know. And now thinking about it, like the greater context of Dak Prescott and the contract and the Cowboys, I don't know that it makes sense for anybody other than Dak. I don't think it makes sense for Dallas. I don't think that it makes sense for Dallas fans. They shouldn't be too thrilled about it. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, Dak Prescott, he's 48 and 27 or something like that as a starter. The
Right.
Cowboys last year were 4-7 without him. I mean, you're not going to go and get Andy Dalton to come back, and then what do you do? If you go get somebody like Deshaun Watson, you're giving up 4 first-round picks, your defense is still trash, And I granted Deshaun Watson's better than Dak, but I think that Dak is in that upper echelon of the top 10. I think 66% completion percentage for his career. He doesn't turn the ball over. You mentioned he doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns, but he only averages half an interception a game. So every other game he throws an interception, which is kind of Aaron Rodgers-esque, Tom Brady-esque, a game manager, right? Except he's got an electric arm and he can run, and he doesn't run. He's not like a Lamar Jackson kind of carry the ball 20 times. He's more like a Patrick Mahomes. Like, if you run me out of the pocket, I can get 13.
Not only that, what he showed last year, I think, is what Dallas is betting on. In the first 4 games, he has more yards than anybody in the history of football last year through his first 4 games. And he was electric. And that offense was, electric with CD and Amari and who's the third one I'm forgetting now?
Gallup, Michael
Gallup. That team, they've got legit weapons out there, and he was using every one of them. The issue becomes, what do you do now with this massive Zeke contract, this massive Dak Prescott contract, this massive Amari Cooper contract? Like, there's no wonder your defense is awful. You have, I couldn't, outside of Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, who Leighton Vander Esch is an injury case, and Jalen Smith is a middle linebacker. What do they have on defense? They don't have a pass rusher worth a damn. DeMarcus Lawrence, is essentially by himself. So I take that back. He's very good, but he's by himself out there and gets essentially washed out because nobody has to worry about anything else on defense. They were starting Trevon Diggs last year, who got torched, and I don't know. I just don't see the long-term future when you give a player $40 million. But I bet they're Super Bowl favorites to start, probably tomorrow. I bet you they open as Super Bowl favorites.
No, I don't know. You take them as Super Bowl favorites over the Bucs?
I wouldn't, but that offense and the way they were performing, I wouldn't, but I bet you they're up there, man.
Oh, there's no doubt they'll be up there, because the only reason anybody outside that division, outside of Dallas in that division, made the postseason was because Dak got hurt.
Yes, 100%.
That's the only reason. I don't know. I think McCarthy brought Green Bay to Dallas, and that's the model they're going with. They're going to try to outscore everybody, which is great for Dak. But as we all can agree on, you need some semblance of a defense.
The offensive line got depleted as well. You remember, I think they had, was it one guy retired early?
Travis Frederick retired.
Yeah, that's right.
They still have Zach, and Tyron Smith is a shell of himself, but Zach Martin's still one of the best guards in football. They still have
Lyle Collins, right?
Lyle Collins, who I think is a tremendous, tremendous player. So, granted, it's not a strength that it was, but, again, you've got all this cap space tied into other things. You're not going to be able to have the offensive line, the same as it was. I don't know. At the very end of all, I think we can all agree Dak is the winner of this. I don't think Dallas loses. I don't think, this is, a bad deal for Dallas in any way, because, again, what else could they have done? I just don't. I'm going to have to see the numbers, because, again, if they can get out of this contract after 2 years and it's a $10 million cap hit or whatever his salary is going to be, I think that's good for them. But if they've got a huge dead cap and things like that, I think they're going to run into a lot of issues.
Yeah, and to your point, I didn't even consider the whole Ezekiel Elliott thing, but they got to get out of that contract.
They have to get out of it.
McCarthy doesn't use a running back anyway. They got to get out of the Zeke contract.
Green Bay, we'll talk about it here, but Green Bay didn't even franchise Aaron Jones.
Right.
You just don't pay running backs money. You just can't. You just can't pay them money, and you can't draft them in the first round. If you do, it's just very tough to build the pieces around to have a successful ball club.
Well, that's a great segue, actually, because I was just going to go into the guys who did get franchised and the guys who didn't get franchised. And Aaron Jones was among the ones who did not, as was Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Kenny Galladay, Bud Dupree, Chris Carson. So there's a couple running backs there, Carson and Aaron Jones. Not surprised with Aaron Jones because they drafted A.J. Dillon, and I thought that was kind of the writing on the wall for Aaron Jones last season anyways.
Yeah.
Well, reports are they still want to re-sign him. and they still want him back in Green Bay. I just don't think they want to pay him, the average salary of a top 5 running back and things like that. I think running back by committee is the way to go, unless you've got a guy like McCaffrey or something, and then run him for 5 years until his wheels fall off and get rid of him. But I mean, like there was, not to get too far off here, but there was a issue that who's in Atlanta right now? God, how can I not remember his name?
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley's 26. He's 26 years old, and we're already talking about like he's a washed-up player. Like, I mean, that's just what life is as a running back. So, I mean, I think we'll see. Chris Carson, I don't expect to really sign anywhere for big money either. So that franchise tag isn't a shock to me. I'd have kept Kenny Galladay. I'd have done everything I could to keep Kenny Galladay if I was Detroit. But
yeah, but you got to imagine Kenny Galladay wanted to do everything he could to get out of Detroit. Yeah. If I'm Kenny Galladay, I'm begging Detroit not to franchise tag me. I don't care what the money is.
One of the bigger ones that I think is going to go kind of untalked about is no Hunter Henry franchise tag. New England. I think a lot of teams are going to jump on Hunter Henry. I know he's got an injury history and things like that, but man, when that kid's on the field, he's super talented. And a young quarterback's best friend is a tight end. So I don't know. With Justin Herbert leading my franchise, I don't know if I'd have gotten rid of Hunter Henry. And I'm saying got rid of. We're speaking as if they don't still have a chance to sign him. They do, but most of the time when the player doesn't get franchised, he usually doesn't re-sign with that team. So. And
I could see one of those tight ends like the Jonnu or the Hunter Henrys of the world going to a place like New England. Both of those guys seem like the type of person that Bill Belichick covets, right? 100%. Like, don't they seem like a Belichick guy? Both guys seem like a Belichick guy.
They do, and no team in football uses their tight ends better, I think. But so if you're a tight end and you want to rack up the stats, go to New England because you're the focus of the offense. However, I will say this is that Bill Belichick doesn't like to pay people. So if you're Hunter Henry and you want to get paid, you're not going to New England because he's not. Well,
maybe, but Bill Belichick hasn't had the cap space he has this year. When was the last time the Patriots had this kind of cap space? So we don't know. I mean, Bill Belichick doesn't notoriously pay, right? Because they just kind of plug and replace people as they sort of like price themselves out of the Patriots' salary restraints. But now they have a lot of cap flexibility. I mean, you could see them making significant moves.
I don't.
I don't know. I think they do because, like, we'll talk about it. Like, they didn't franchise Joe Thuney, which I think is probably a mistake in my opinion. But they did just trade for Trent Brown. Trent Brown's going to come in. It's probably going to move Isaiah Wynn to guard. It should, most likely, or not. Then they've got a left tackle and a right tackle. But I mean, Joe Thuney is easily. I mean, it's not even a discussion. He's a top 3 guard. So I don't know if I'd have let him go. But that's what I think they let go of guys more than like they don't re-sign or sign new guys. Like so I think they've got an opportunity to sign new guys by letting like other guys go. I think they'd love to get because I don't think Jonnu Smith's going to get crazy money at all.
No.
Jonnu Smith in Bill Belichick's scheme and things like that, or Josh McDaniel's scheme, more said, is that's a threat. That guy's super talented. So
I mean, Jonnu could be the best tight end in football in the right situation.
Like truthfully, I mean, he really like that's. I don't agree with a lot of what Nick says, but like he really like Jonnu Smith is an insane athlete playing tight end. So I think he's got a shot. I mean, you put him in the right offense, he could easily get 1,000 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
easily.
As a Patriots fan, I think I brought up the name David Njoku a million times, right? I'd love to see David Njoku in New England because we talk about freak athletes and just size and just not utilized in Cleveland where they have 3 other tight ends or whatever it is. So I'd love to see him there. But I do like, to your point, because we were just talking about the offensive line, right? I love bringing in Trent Brown. He did really well with them. Dante Scarnecchia is not here anymore, so we'll see how that plays in. I do like moving Isaiah Wynn to guard. I think he was a small tackle. He was a left tackle, but he was like 6'2", 6'3". And so
his arms are long though.
Yeah. And he's great. He blocks really well, but he's also hurt a lot. So it's one of those maybe putting him at guard, run blocking more than not have to worry about the outside pass rushers. Maybe that helps him. I don't know, but I like their offensive line. I think Damian Harris is gonna take over for Sonny Michel. I think he's it's a way to use those first 2 picks instead of taking Lamar Jackson. You got Sonny Michel and Isaiah Wynn.
But they also have Marcus Cannon coming back on that line.
Yeah,
Marcus Cannon's coming back on the line, and Marcus Cannon. I mean, and you talk about like Marcus Cannon's a big dude. Trent Brown's what 6'8", 6'9", about 370. I mean, good luck if you're a pass rusher trying to get past Trent Brown. Good luck.
He's nimble. Like he's not a lumbering 6'7", 380. Yeah, I mean, I think Bud Dupree was kind of a little shocking too. No Shaq Barrett, I think, was shocking. I know we franchised Godwin, but I don't know. I'm on the record saying I think I'd rather franchise Shaq Barrett as a Bucs fan, but because I think it's going to be tough to replace his production if he goes. So, and then no Bud Dupree, I think was a little shocking in Pittsburgh too, because I know he just came off that injury, but I mean they've been dying for a pass rusher opposite of T.J. Watt, and they finally had one in Bud Dupree, and they let him go, seemingly. So.
Yeah, and he strikes me as the type of guy too. Speaking of Bud Dupree, I mean, I don't know what the rumors are right now around him, but he's another guy who's sort of like a potential reclamation project for a place like New England, or I could see him going to a place like the Giants. I mean, the Giants are in need of one more pass rusher on that defense, and I really like what Joe Judge is building with that defense.
I'll tell you what, if we don't re-sign Shaq Barrett, I'd love to see Bud Dupree in Tampa, too.
Yeah, it's a good shout, too. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't like the term reclamation project with Bud Dupree because he's been phenomenal, I think, the past couple of years. I mean,
but the
injury is a rough one.
The injury is
being on a pass rusher is a rough injury, man.
It's like the same as it's like the equivalent to that meniscus tear on a running back.
Yeah.
Some of the guys who were franchised, Marcus May, the safety from the Jets, I think they've been talking about that for months. That wasn't really a surprise. Justin Simmons with the Denver. Allen Robinson with Chicago. So that one kind of surprised me. I mean, not really because that's the only way they're going to keep him, until they get a quarterback. Then they can convince him, hey, we got a quarterback. Why don't you stay with us?
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why, to make it more attractive to one of those quarterbacks.
I think so. Well, and I was surprised how good Allen Robinson is. Like, I liked him when he was with Jacksonville. But I think that, the past couple years in Chicago, I think what was a stat? He dropped something like 3 catchable passes over 4 years or something.
And he also caught like 107 balls this year or some shit.
Yeah, he's never really played with a decent quarterback either. I mean, I love the fact that everybody's out there franchise tagging Penn State guys, Godwin, Allen Robinson. Love to see that.
Who else got franchised today that was big? Oh, another safety, Marcus Williams. Wasn't big, but
Leonard Williams got franchised by the Giants.
By the Giants, that was he had to. Gettleman staked his whole reputation on him in New York. Yeah. You know what I mean? They gave up
he's got a franchise tag twice now, hadn't he?
Twice.
Leonard freaking Williams. This guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a incredible 5 tech. He's a good run stopping guy. But man, to franchise tag I wonder, is his position designation a defensive end?
Defensive line.
Yeah, defensive line. Yeah.
Okay,
so not tackles and
but he is the captain of that defense, and I feel like Joe Judge values that type of thing.
No, I hear you.
You know what I mean? Especially for a younger
interior guy instead of an exterior guy, you're getting a discount. So I guess I can understand it.
Right.
Well, he had 11.5 sacks. I didn't realize how effective he was on the defense. Well, I guess nobody realizes anything from the Giants.
No, that is true. That is true. Although I do say I love what Joe Judge is doing. They're getting Saquon back. I mean, we'll get to see Daniel Jones with another year under his belt with hopefully some pass protection. I think the Giants could be sneaky good.
If they get some help on wide receiver, man, God.
I mean, but this is a draft for wide receivers, isn't it?
And a free agency for wide receivers. Well, Fuller didn't get tagged. Kenny Galladay didn't get tagged, like we mentioned. Oh, there's a lot of receiving stuff out there.
Yeah, and through the draft.
They could sneakily win 7. I don't know if they do much better than that. I just don't think that's a great team. I'm not a big.
I don't think it's a great team either, to be fair. But I think 8 wins is actually pretty good for them right now. So
and could win the division. 8 wins could win.
Not with Dak.
I don't think it wins it with Dak. Even with a 32 ranked defense, that team wins 10 games just because they get to play.
We don't know the schedule. We don't know the schedule.
No, but they get to play the East 6 times. So there's probably 6 wins there.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
We don't know what Philadelphia is. We don't know what Washington football team is at this point because what are they going to do at quarterback? And
I think Joe Judge is the best coach in that division. No disrespect to Ron Rivera, but I think Joe Judge is the best coach in that.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's a crazy hot take because I don't think that division's loaded with coaching talent. So,
yeah.
It is the season for mock drafts, and everybody's got their own stupidity. And we wouldn't talk about stupid people. This person always says stupid things. Maurice Jones-Drew came out with his mock draft.
He dropped his mock today?
He dropped his mock draft.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see it. Oh, my God. He had Joe Burrow going like 6 last year. He is the best, though.
He had
it's pure entertainment.
3 running backs in the first round.
Yes!
I love that.
Which one? Where do you have him going?
So he had 18 to the Dolphins, Najee Harris. He had 23 to the Jets, Travis Etienne, which we talked about. That was a possibility. Yeah. And then we had 30 to the Bills, Javonte Williams. And didn't the Bills just take a running back in last year's draft?
Yeah, I loved it. And the one before that, too. I love Javonte Williams, though. Man, that's wild. Charlie Casserly, too, I told you guys, had Justin Fields falling to 26. He had Atlanta trading out of 4 to 7 with Carolina, or to 8 with Carolina, and then taking Najee Harris right there.
I'm sorry, I don't want to steal your thunder because I know that at some point we'll do the big board, but I don't really like Najee Harris as the number 1 running back in this draft, per se. To me, I think Etienne is more. I think his skill set is better suited for this NFL.
My first big board that I came out, I had Etienne in the top 10 overall, just as a pure player. You know what I mean? Because talent level, it's not where I'm ranking them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I'm a huge Etienne fan. Don't get me wrong. I think Najee Harris is going to succeed in the NFL also, but I agree. The skill set that Travis Etienne has, I think it far surpasses Najee Harris. I don't think Travis Etienne's going to carry the ball 35 times a game.
No.
He's going to touch it 25, and 10 of those or 8 of those are going to be catches, and he's going to get 80 yards on those most of the time because he's a miserable mismatch for a safety or a linebacker. So that's where I like Travis Etienne more. So I agree 100%. And the way to tease it, though, because we're going to drop the big board Saturday. I know I've been telling these guys we'll get it to them, but we're going to drop that shit Saturday. Get ready, folks.
The thing I did like about Maurice Jones-Drew, his mock draft, was that he had Kyle Pitts going to the Patriots at 15, and I would love that.
I'm telling you, I don't think Pitts drops out of the top 10. I don't know
if he gets out of the top 5.
Honestly. I know. I think Pitts is he's one of those guys that's a generational talent at his position. He's in the same breath as a Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback, or a Saquon Barkley as a running back. It's like Kyle Pitts is what those guys are to their positions at the tight end position. You can't cover him as a linebacker. It's foolish. You can't cover him with your secondary. He's an absolute mismatch because he's probably going to be faster and he's way bigger and stronger than anybody in the NFL secondary. It's just he's insane. I've never seen a player like Kyle Pitts at that position.
I truly haven't either. I was lucky enough to scout some decent tight ends in the recent years. The kid out of Iowa, T.J. Hawkinson, I thought is truly one of the more complete tight ends we've ever seen in a long time. But it's not the same player. The mismatch ability that Kyle Pitts represents on the outside is something that's honestly it's going to change whatever offense he goes to. It's so insane. I don't know if he gets it past 4. I don't know. He may not get past because I think the Jets move from 2 to 4 and then take Kyle Pitts at 4. So
Philly could take him too. Philly needs a receiver. Philly
snaps him at 6 if he's there. I think that's why I think his floor is 6. Honestly, I don't see any way he gets past Philly. When the big board comes out, he'll be my number 1 pass catching threat. And you guys and Wayne knows I love Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah.
I have Kyle Pitts ranked ahead of him at this point. So
the other 2 that I noted down, he had Wyatt Davis going 20 to the Bears, and I only noted that because I think I've made it clear that in this draft I would love to see the Patriots take Wyatt Davis and fill that guard spot. AKA, I'll bring it up every time. The destroyer of worlds. I want the destroyer of worlds on my offensive line.
He's so talented.
Yeah, he is.
And I mean, you grew up in a house with Alvin Mack. You probably had to block him in the first half of your life.
Yeah,
well,
there you go.
I'll say it every time. You turn on this kid's tape. I'm telling you, watch every game he plays in. He's maybe on the ground one time or two times. It's insane to watch how balanced he is and just under control. It's really impressive.
And the other one was Jeremiah Owusu-Komora. He had to Cleveland at 26. And every mock draft I've seen has had him going to the Raiders. And so he's like a Raiders-type player.
Where did he have Parsons going? I was trying to look at it really quick.
I'm not sure. I didn't write the whole thing down.
All right. I know a lot of people have Parsons dropping in this draft.
I know. I love that.
I don't know. I mean, it's so odd because now are they having this combine? I don't know. I got to look and see what this whole combine talk is because now there's invites to this combine and things like that. They are going to do one. So I'd love to see because I mean, if he shows up, the kid's going to test off the charts athletically. It's going to be insane to watch him run and jump and things like that. And obviously, I think that'll skyrocket him on boards. But I got to dive deeper into his off the field stuff. Nick, you talk about it. I don't know much about it, truthfully. So I'm going to have to go deeper into that and figure out how bad it. I mean, is it cheating on a test or is it beating your girlfriend? You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's not stuff. It's not stuff like that. It's more like character and like messing with like the wrong crowd type sort of stuff.
Keeping his old friends.
Deshaun Watson,
yeah. Well, keeping his old friends by his side, and they're mostly dragging him down.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did Deshaun Watson?
but the thing is too, and I don't say this lightly because I mean I've said it before. I'm a huge Penn State football fan, and think about the linebacker factory that's come out of that school recently, right? Like the Sean Lees of the world, the Paul Posluszny. We can go all the way back to LeVar Arrington. Micah Parsons is to me, hands down, it's not even close, the best linebacker to come out of the program. Out of all those guys. And that pains me because I love Sean Lee. I love Paul Posluszny. I loved LeVar Arrington at Penn State. But, I mean, Parsons didn't play as long as those guys did, but the talent is other – I mean, the program's never had a linebacker like that before.
I mean, you say you can't guard Kyle Pitts with a linebacker. Micah Parsons is probably one of the few that could maybe put up a fight because he's 6'4", he's 240, and he moves fairly well. Not fairly well. He moves.
Isaiah Simmons.
What's up? No, he could. I mean,
Isaiah Simmons. True. Yeah. Isaiah Simmons will. I mean, but how many people have Isaiah Simmons on their team? Nobody. Other than yeah, that's right. Like that guy doesn't grow on trees either. He's 6'4", he's 230, and he moves like he's 6'1", 210. You know what I mean? Like those guys don't grow on trees. So I mean, anytime you get a chance to get one, I think you do. I think Micah Parsons. Wayne, my love for Isaiah Simmons. I think he's the bee's knees. So I'd have him probably over Micah Parsons, but I think Micah Parsons in the exact same mold, and I think he'll probably go in the same spot, 7, 8, 9, 10, something like that. If he drops to 15, whoever takes him is getting a massive steal.
Yeah, if you get Parsons out of the top 10, you stole the first round.
Yeah, the MJD has him going 6 to the Eagles.
That doesn't even make sense.
Well, the name that because Sully and I have talked a lot about. We did a mock draft. We did a lot of Sully's top prospects. A name that I haven't heard him say, but MJD has him going 10th overall to the Cowboys is Javon Holland, safety from Oregon.
I mean, he sat out, so I haven't seen the kid play. And right. Trayvon Moehrig, I have seen play, and is one of the most impressive secondary players I've seen in a long time. So I don't. From a pure athletic standpoint, Javon Holland is a freak back there and is extremely talented. But I don't see any way he goes that high. And I don't see any way. I mean, I say anyway. I don't see a lot of people having him over Moehrig right now. Again, it's what have you done for me lately? We haven't seen Javon Holland play football in over a year now. So, and meanwhile, we've seen Trevor Moehrig break records for PFF and pass deflections by a safety and things like that. So, I don't know.
He also, Sully, just for the record, because I pulled it up while we were talking, he also has Justin Fields going to the Jets at 2 and Zach Wilson going to Atlanta at 4.
Whew. Boy, that's a take and a half. I mean, if you don't have the Jets taking not Zach Wilson, you can't have them taking Justin Fields. That's for sure.
Right.
But again, it's Maurice Jones-Drew. This is the same guy who had Joe Burrow going 5. And Justin Herbert going 1. And I mean, granted, he doesn't look like an idiot for the Justin Herbert 1 thing, but nobody's taking Joe Burrow 5. That kid was as good as you could get from a quarterback rating standpoint. That's like passing on Trevor Lawrence at 1 right now. It just doesn't.
Yeah. But the thing I will say for that take is, if you going into that college football season, Justin Herbert as a number one pick wasn't a far fetched idea.
No, it wasn't
over Joe Burrow.
No, it wasn't. Obviously not. It wasn't at all. And even after the draft, I guess you could have the argument that he goes 2, which I mean he did. But I mean, I don't think there's any way you could realistically say I think Justin Herbert's more talented than Joe Burrow before the draft. I think that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched any of the NBA All-Star Weekend, but I am going to say this: the NBA All-Star Weekend sucks. God, does it suck. I used to be a huge fan. Growing up, I watched NBA All-Star Weekend every weekend. I loved the dunk contest, the three-point contest. I loved the NBA All-Star Game, the Rising Stars Challenge. I watched Kobe drop 31 in the Rising Stars Challenge when he was a rookie. Like, I've been watching it for years. I was watching this, and it made me want to puke. It was absolutely disgusting. It's turned into the Pro Bowl. Like, there's no defense. Everybody just stands around, watches people drive the lane and dunk it. Literally just watch it. Get in the way. Step in the way, do something. And then the dunk contest was a sham. I mean, 3 people in it. Nobody did anything really spectacular. I don't know. I was really disappointed with the whole weekend.
The guy who won the dunk contest won by attempting to kiss the rim, and he didn't even kiss the rim. He didn't even, it didn't even have, what? That's a missed dunk in my opinion. Like, that's a failed dunk. Like, I don't know. It was a joke. The only cool thing I thought of the whole weekend was Steph Curry coming back and just crushing the 3-point contest. That was fun to watch. I mean, just cementing himself as, obviously the greatest 3-point shooter of all time and arguably the greatest shooter of all time. And then, I did kind of enjoy him and Dame just pulling up from half court. I thought that was like fun to watch, but again, I think I agree. It's a joke. I mean, it's worse than the Pro Bowl, honestly, in my opinion. It's worse than the Pro Bowl because they literally just get out the way and just let the guy drive and do whatever crazy shit he wants to do.
Yeah, that was my take on it. The NBA All-Star Game's been like this for a while, unfortunately. I want to say it's the LeBron era NBA All-Star Games. It's tough to watch. It really, there's zero sense of pride. Everybody's chumming it up. There's like no competitive fire. Like, you could always bet on certain guys, right, Wayne? And you could speak to this because you mentioned the whole thing of Kobe with the Rising Stars. But you could always bet on certain guys. Like, Kobe was going to be on the floor, and he didn't want anybody performing better than he could. Mm-hmm. He didn't care what the setting was. So that in and of itself was going to get other guys to break the mold at the All-Star game and be less friendly. Because if Kobe's going to go out there and compete like that, other people will catch on. There's no one like that right now. There's no other player in the league that does that. In 2002, they had to bench him for the whole fourth quarter because he was going to steal the MVP from Jordan. Right. That's what I'm saying. And Jordan was the same way. Jordan was like, even late Jordan, like when Kobe first came onto the scene and was playing in the All-Star game against him, Jordan was like, no, I'm not letting this kid. I'm going to show this kid what what he's up against, sort of thing. And there was like those like little one-off competitive situations, that kind of stuff. I mean, you don't have that anymore. You don't. It's boring to watch, truthfully. I don't like. It's just Giannis was perfect from the field, though. I mean, how about Giannis perfect from the field? Hey, I've made 16 layups in a row before. That's what I mean. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Everybody's just friends now, so nobody's out there and the game doesn't mean anything, so nobody's out there trying. Essentially, they're like all just hanging out and being chummy, like you mentioned. We need bad blood in the NBA. And I don't mean that in like a negative way, like guys need to hate each other and that sort of thing. But it's like, can you imagine like Michael Jordan going and dabbing up Patrick Ewing and stuff like that? And like all, you know what I mean? Like all these players, or like Isaiah Thomas. Like, we need rivalry. When they weren't on the same, they did it when they were on the USA Dream Team and shit. But I mean, they have a collective goal at that point. So like, I 100% agree with your opinion. During a season or during a game, you're never going to see MJ walk up to, Patrick Ewing and
before a game and be like, "Yo, good luck, dog." You know what I mean?
That's
like,
fine.
yeah,
You're
like,
not,
stay healthy. Like, now granted, I don't knock the players now for doing that because I think that's more the culture than it is the individual player. But because with all these travel teams, all these guys are playing together so often. And things like that. So, like, you're seeing these guys at camps and you become friends. Like, you know what I mean? So I understand it. It's not like when guys were Jordan's age and you were in Chicago and you didn't see anybody in California, you know what I mean, until you saw them and played them, essentially. So I get it. It's totally different in the social media age and everybody friend requests and all that dumb shit. But I don't know. I agree with you. I don't like it one bit. And I think it is softening the NBA greatly.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think to your point, like it is. There's a larger cultural component at play here because I know we all watched The Last Dance, and Wayne, you'll remember Magic Johnson said that those pickup games that they had with the Dream Team were some of the most competitive games he played in his career. I mean, those guys were going at it, almost coming to blows, not talking to each other afterwards on the team bus, stuff like that. I mean, you have scenarios where Kobe said like. He would literally solicit in the offseason some of the best players in the league so he could learn how they play. So in pivotal moments during the season, during the finals, he claims that's how he was able to guard Reggie Miller in the playoffs. It's because he knew everything Reggie was going to do because he invited Reggie out that summer to train with him. Mm-hmm. And that's what he was doing. He was chumming it up with him, but at the same time, he was manipulating them. You know what I mean? So it's and Reggie wasn't a likable guy, right? Like, yeah. Reggie didn't make friends. It's not the mentality is not like that anymore. It's kind of annoying.
It's definitely generational, and I want to go back to even when I was in high school. My senior year, I made the All-Star team. So we had one player from each team got to be an All-Star. I represented my team in the All-Star game, and in the All-Star game, like nobody was clowning around. Like we still wanted to win that game too. Like there wasn't, there was no joking about it. We weren't pulling up from half court. We were trying to win. And I don't know when that stopped. When it was like, hey, we don't really care if we win or not. As long as I can catch it off the backboard and reverse it, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I don't understand. And Wayne, you're talking though, but Wayne's talking like before there was a 3-point line.
I know. That is
no, that's where I made my bread and butter. There had to be a 3-point line.
Yeah. But yeah, it's too bad. It's a shame because the All-Star game used to be something that, to Wayne's point, I used to look forward to it as a kid growing up. Every year it was like the biggest thing. Friends and I used to have like All-Star weekend parties, three nights a week. You'd have the 3-point shootout, the dunk contest, all that. It was something to look forward to. And now it's just like
now they shove it into one day to get it over with.
I know. And it's like let's get it over with so I can get my fantasy basketball back together. But
I tell you what I don't like about the 3-point contest because that's probably the best part now. Even the dunk contest is lame now. 3-point contest is probably the best, the star of the show. I don't like the Mountain Dew balls, and I don't like the full rack of nothing but money balls. Can't we just go back to the 5 racks, 5 balls each? The last one's a money ball. Because now guys are scoring 32, and before the perfect score was 30. And I don't know. I just don't like all that. Maybe I'm an old-fashioned guy still, but I don't.
No, it's just this. Again, it's just this day and age and culture. More points, more this, more. It just sounds and looks and feels flashier and better. So. That's why they do it. I agree. I think it's pointless. But, the whole rack of money balls I actually like because I think, if you go hot on that one rack and just come back and win, I think that's kind of cool.
But it's the money too, Wayne. So you know that. Like the Mountain Dew balls, Mountain Dew's paying money. It's just like MLB with the home run derby, right? Like you have what is it, Remax or whatever the real estate company.
Yeah, that if you hit the target, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's all marketing BS.
Yeah.
I wrote down some of the first half stuff because obviously the All-Star game typically marks the midway point of the season. And I don't know about you guys. I was just writing down some of my middle of the season winners. I had Joel Embiid, I think, is the midseason MVP. I love seeing him healthy. I love seeing him do what we all think that he can do, which is be the best big man in the league. I think LaMelo is the rookie of the year. But I will say this about James Wiseman, who – is averaging 11.8 points, 5.9 rebounds, but he's only playing 19 minutes a game. So, if Wiseman is playing the 29 minutes that LaMelo's playing, he actually averages 18 and 8. He's I understand.
I think
mathematically.
Yeah, I get it that you could do that, but I don't know if Wiseman is that effective if he's on the floor for that much longer. It is kind of like
Right.
I don't know. Like, I think he's effective and good at what he does because he's playing those minimal minutes against, certain matchups and things like that. Meanwhile, I think LaMelo's out here just balling. I think to that point on the rookie halfway point, rookie of the year awards, Wayne, I would say I don't think Wiseman will finish top 2 in the voting. I think it'll be LaMelo and it'll be Halliburton and LaMelo.
Yeah, I agree with that. But for me, I'm a huge Wiseman fan. I liked him going in the draft. I've watched him play a couple of games this year with Golden State. When he's on the floor, he looks really, really, really good. And maybe to Sully's point, maybe he's just not in shape to play 25, 28, 29 minutes. But when he is playing, he looks really good when he plays.
Yeah. No, he is. I mean, and there's no doubt in my mind he'll be a productive NBA player. It's tough because LaMelo's just been so good. LaMelo's everything that Lonzo and everything he was touted to be, right? Like LeVar didn't lie. The best one was this one.
And the kid just has it all. He looks like, he's got a basketball IQ that seems incredibly special. And I think that's what is truly setting him apart right now. The kid just isn't shook at all. And that's probably because he went over and played overseas against pros and men, and now he comes over here into the NBA, and he doesn't look shook at all. He looks ready to play ball. So,
he looks like a 6'7" Jason Kidd.
He does. Oh, that's a great reference. Oh.
Well, yeah, I guess
he's a 6'7" Jason Kidd.
Neither one was a great shooter, right? So.
Well, Jason Kidd ended up being like a 37% shooter later on in his career. And
New Jersey Jason Kidd was a great three-point shooter.
Yeah, for sure. Dallas Jason Kidd was not, but Jersey Jason Kidd was a great three-point shooter. And if LaMelo can average 36%, 37% and play the way he does and be 6'7" and play defense like he does, the kid's an all-NBA player in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought something that was interesting looking through the records is, we talked about when the Warriors drafted James Wiseman, and we thought that they're going to have Clay back, but then he got hurt again in the offseason. But we're like, man, what an embarrassment of riches for this Golden State team that you got Curry, Clay's coming back, Draymond's there. Now they're going to draft number 2 overall. They get, James Wiseman. Well, this coming draft, they have Minnesota's pick, and Minnesota's one of the worst teams.
Right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Loaded.
This is the draft to have Minnesota's pick.
Yeah, so loaded too. Oh my god! If they get a
top 10 pick is huge in this draft. Yeah, a top 10 pick could be a franchise changing pick.
If they get a top 5, like holy hell!
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy.
My understanding is that. I guess it's top 3 protected this year, and then it's unprotected next year. So if it's 4th, then it goes to Golden State.
So they better hope they get 4 or 5. Oh god, getting 4 or 5 would be so insane. That would be not fair.
Yeah. That's you could literally
you could legitimately get a green at 4 or 5 at that point.
You could get Jalen's. Yeah.
You add him with an aging Klay Thompson, and that's your new 2 guard next to Steph. Like,
you could go out and get that kid Kuminga as well. Yep. From Kuminga would likely be available. I think Zaire Williams could be available right there.
Yep.
You got a lot. You got
a lot of talent available at that point.
Yeah,
and. That's all I really had for sports, but we do have the segment that Nick was looking forward to so much. This is really his idea, everybody. This is
We are not going to get 18 minutes of this, guys.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. So my first part of it's a 2-parter here, and the first one is I read an Atlanta article. There's this AtlantaBlackStar.com or something like that, which had said that fans or whatever are split. Fans are split about who has the better filmography, Eddie Murphy or Kevin Hart. And I replied, like, split what, 90-10?
Yeah. Not even. Way. It should be split 99-1. The only movie Kevin Hart's even good in that I enjoy is like the Guy movie, the one with Steve Harvey. The Steve Harvey book movie.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know. The only one I've seen him in the only one I've seen him in there, like the Jumanji movies, like the new ones.
Ugh, they were awful.
Wait, he was into see, I don't even know. That's the thing. It's like I'm trying to think of like the movies that he was in.
The one he was just in that was super famous. They made 2 of them.
Get Hard.
No, What a Man Wants. God, what movie is that? God, now you're pissing me off.
I mean, Kevin Hart is not an. I mean,
he's not good.
No, I don't even think he's funny.
I think he's decent. All right, so he was funny when he first came out. The issue with Kevin Hart is he's the same person. Like he's never expanded his repertoire. He doesn't do multiple things. He just yells essentially. And so like I don't find him very funny. To me, he's Dane Cook. Like you know what I mean? Like that's
funny. That was my take. Is he's the modern day equivalent to what Dane Cook was when we were
nice, perfect. Yeah, and Jesse, our former host, thinks Dane Cook's the top 5 comedian of all time. And I told him, I was like, bro, that can't, like, he had 2 good stand-ups and then disappeared off the face of the earth and was nothing because he has no talent. He's good at doing one thing, which is screaming, and then beyond
I would take Gaffigan over Dane Cook. I mean, like, so many people. It's like, I mean, that's the worst take I've ever heard in my life.
Dane Cook is bad.
Sorry, Jesse. That's the worst.
I love you, Jesse, but Dane Cook is bad.
Well, and it's funny because I've had that argument at work about the top, like the Mount Rushmore of comedians.
Think like a man.
What is it?
Think like a man.
We did the Mount Rushmore of comedians, and Jesse actually got really angry at me because I said the Mount Rushmore. What's that?
I was going to say, who'd you have?
So he didn't like that I had George Carlin. So I had Carlin, Richard Pryor, I had Lenny Bruce, and then I had Dave Chappelle. And
wow, Dave Chappelle made the Rushmore.
Yeah, I love Dave Chappelle. Everything he does is gold. Everything
I do too. I think Chappelle.
I love Dave Chappelle.
I think I had Chappelle, Louis C.K.,
Tom Segura,
I think, and then I think I did. I love Tom Segura, and then I can't remember who. Probably Pryor or Carlin. I can't remember. I'll tell you what though, Bill Cosby's stand-up I think is one of the funniest stand-ups.
Oh yeah, Bill Cosby's great stand-up. Yeah, Bill Cosby's great stand-up.
He was kind of like Seinfeld, where he kept it clean. He tried to keep it like but he was funny. A little bit different. I mean, Seinfeld's topical or whatever, but Eddie Murphy's a great stand-up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, chocolate cake bit that Bill Cosby does, I think, is hilarious. I'll never forget it.
What about Chris Rock's stand-up?
I love Chris Rock.
I love Chris Rock as well. I don't know if I'd have him on the Mount Rushmore, but I think he's fantastic. It's just so hard to narrow it down to 4 guys because it's also so subjective on who you like. Like, like I'd probably have Mitch Hedberg really, really, really high. And half the people probably don't even know who Mitch Hedberg is. You know what I mean? So
to me, because he was so short-lived, I love Mitch Hedberg, but I mean, he's so short-lived. To me, it's like, like Patrice O'Neal, who was like the Bo Jackson of these guys. Like, I mean, when Patrice was alive, he did those 2 specials. I think it was Mr. P and then Elephant in the Room. Maybe even 2 of the best stand-ups I've ever heard or watched. I mean, they're phenomenal. And he just died when he was 40, which sucks. But to me, he's up there talent-wise. But, obviously Carlin's had 20 HBO specials. Yeah, of course. That's so kind of to go with that.
I love how this just turned into our favorite comedians, and we completely stopped talking about Eddie Murphy.
Also, for a recommendation, I don't know if you guys have seen him, but just anybody out there, Nate Bargatze has
Nate Bargatze is one of the best that's ever out there. His stand-up about the reptile farm is
god, dude! It
is absolute gold classic. It's the best ever. And then when he talks about his life, and she's like. And he tells like thing. He's like, yeah. Well, she's like, well, yeah. That's what people say. And he goes, what people? You don't know any people, bro. I love Nate Bargatze, bro.
Yeah, the chocolate milk when he talks about the chocolate milk.
Yes, exactly. The chocolate milk thing. He goes, I decided I was going to work out, so I had to get all the supplies, because I love
chocolate milk for working out. I mean, his whole he has like a Starbucks bit about how they yell at you for your order when you're in line, and it gives him anxiety. It's so fun.
He's so good. He's so good.
Nate Bargatze.
It would be fun to do way back in the day we did Infinity 5 and to think of your 5 favorite bits. I think it would be kind of fun because I think of Louis C.K.'s Fig Newtons.
Yes,
so good,
so good.
I like the first 48.
Anything
the first
Louis
48. The first 48 with Tom Segura. The first 48 is hilarious.
I think that purple drink. The Dave Chappelle purple drink bit is
God, that kills me. The Sunny Delight,
all-time favorite bit.
The Sunny Delight commercial?
Yeah, where he's like, "Ooh, I want that purple stuff."
So you got all the kids,
the white kids like Sunny D, and then he moves to the side, and the black kid's like, "Ooh, I want that purple stuff." That's like that one is. I mean, that one gets me to the core every time. And then the baby selling crack too. I think that one's fantastic.
The Mad Real World.
Yeah, I mean, that one would be tough, but that would be really fun, Wayne.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Wayne.
Yeah.
No,
anyway, getting to the fact that Coming to America is a mediocre movie.
So, you're going to go on that train? So this came up because obviously the whole Eddie Murphy thing, this is Coming to America 2 or Coming to America, whatever they want to call it, came out. It's a big deal. Everyone's like, oh, have you seen it? And it's on Amazon Prime. I have it. I haven't watched it yet. The trailer doesn't do anything for me. I mean, I'm hoping it's just a bad trailer, but I loved Coming to America, the first movie. And when Nick said that he didn't think it was funny, that he actually thought The Departed was a funnier movie than Coming to America, I thought he should give his take on the movie Coming to America, which is an American classic, in my opinion.
Well, American classic, in your opinion. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not even a top 5 Eddie Murphy. I mean, every Shrek movie that Eddie Murphy did was better than Coming to America. Beverly Hills Cop was better than Coming to America. Like, how many Shrek movies were there? 4. They're all better. Yeah, they're all better than Coming to America. And what's the other one? He did it. Was he in Mulan or whatever?
Yeah, he was the dragon in Mulan.
Yeah, it was better than Coming to America. It's like, I mean, I don't know, man. I think I don't see it. It's not a movie that's deserving of a version 2, in my opinion. I mean, it got like even Siskel and Ebert were split on the reviews.
From everything I've heard, it's corny and not as good. That's what I heard from people who have seen the movie so far. So I don't know.
But what about the original? What about the original, though? You're not a huge fan of it. Here's my take.
I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's like like this monumental kind of cultural. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's this great movie. I just don't. I don't see it. So I don't know.
So here's the take. I took when we were involved in this debate earlier on this morning. I was involved. I was at that time in a work conference call. Now, this is mixed age, mixed race, mixed gender, and I posed the question to everybody. I said, do you guys and girls like Coming to America? And it was almost unanimously like, oh, yeah, it was a pretty good movie, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, yeah? What's your favorite line? And no one could rattle off. If you can't rattle off a line from a comedy, you can't say you like the movie. That's my take.
Well, I will tell you this, in my experience as a movie expert. Most people can't rattle off a line to any movie. It's like
I can.
I was just saying, name a movie, I'll rattle off a line from it.
Yeah, it's so hard for people
to
Departed.
The Departed.
I can't quote anything from The Departed. But...
Are you kidding me? Come on.
No, I'm not kidding you. I can quote more of Coming to America than I can The Departed.
No, that's
the barbershop scenes, right? Rocky Marciano. There they go. Every time I start talking about boxing, some white guy got to pull Rocky Marciano out the ass.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's deserving of a sequel.
I disagree there. I think the sequel could come because it did have like kind of a cult following. So I get that, but I don't think like if I'm naming like best Eddie Murphy movies, I don't think Coming to America is in my top 3.
No, but Eddie Murphy has a very good filmography. That's what we just talked about.
Top 5.
Probably not like Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, is
48 Hours, Trading Places, Beverly Hills
Cop shits all over.
Yeah, those are your top. I think 48 Hours, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop.
Every Shrek movie, Mulan.
I'm not counting Shrek.
Dr. Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle's not better than Coming to America.
I think Dr. Doolittle may be better. That movie was fantastic.
Way better than Coming to America.
As much as I love Norm Macdonald, no.
I do love Norm Macdonald.
I like The Distinguished Gentleman, but that's not as good as Coming to America. Golden Child, I don't know if it's as good as Coming to America.
Dr.
Life.
Better than Coming to America.
I don't think it is. I think it's 4. But Coming to America is his 4th best.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see how you can put it as 4th best when every Shrek movie was better than Coming to America.
Well, one, I'm not counting voiceovers work, and two, not every Shrek movie is better. I don't know what you're talking about. You couldn't even tell me. You couldn't tell me the premise of all 4 of those movies. You're just saying it to be argumentative. I can tell you the premise of all 4, and the third one is absolute junk. Shrek 3 is crap.
As far as highest grossing films that Eddie Murphy's done, all 4 Shreks exceed Coming to America. So does Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah, Coming to America came out in 1988.
Yeah.
It was the number 3 grossing movie of the year.
Shrek was the number 1 grossing movie of the year.
Thank you, Sully. And that was more, and that was also a lot more modern. 1988 must have been a shitty year for film. What came out? What else came out that year?
I will tell you. So number one was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Which is a classic. Way better.
That was great.
I like that movie. Yeah. So Coming to America was number 2. Number 3, Good Morning Vietnam.
Should never have been better than Good Morning Vietnam.
Well, it grossed more because people like comedies more than they like dramas. And Good Morning Vietnam is like a 3-hour movie.
Anything Robin Williams is in is better than anything anymore.
I love Good Morning Vietnam, and I'm just telling you, you're going to try to throw grossing out there. Well, if your point is true that Shrek 3 is better than whatever, Coming to America because of the gross, then guess what? Coming to America was better than Good Morning Vietnam because it came out the same year and it did better in the box office.
All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is all Shrek movies were better than Coming to America. So was Dr. Dolittle.
I just want you to admit that you're wrong about the box office determining what's the better movie. That's all I want. Just say, I'm wrong, Wayne. You're right on this one. And we're good. And we're good.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, Shrek demanded a sequel, a prequel, and a, what do you call 4?
There was no prequel to Shrek. So you didn't even watch him. Stop talking about Shrek. You didn't watch him. You don't know the plot.
But I would. If you had Coming to America on, if you had Coming to America on TV and I could choose from any of the Shrek movies and I could only watch either Coming to America or any Shrek movie, I would watch any Shrek movie over Coming.
You're making a mistake then because Shrek 3 is absolutely awful. Shrek 4 is good. Shrek Ever After, Rumpelstiltskin is probably my favorite character of the whole series. But no, Shrek 3 was absolute trash. I would not watch that over Coming to America or many of his movies. Let's put it. I Spy. I would watch I Spy over I watch, Shrek 3.
I'd watch Dr. Dolittle over it too.
Well, yeah, but you probably haven't even seen that either. How many of these movies that you say you would watch over it have you actually seen?
Yeah, I've seen Beverly Hills Cop. I haven't seen all the Shreks. I mean, I don't have that kind of time. Maybe I'll make that an agenda, and then I'll watch Coming to America again. I will bore myself to death, and then I'll go watch Shrek to decompress. That's what I'll do. I mean, look, like everybody knows Eddie Murphy as the donkey in Shrek. Fair to say, that's his thing.
Well, everybody knows the donkey is him, but not everyone knows him as the donkey.
Okay.
I would say Axel Foley's a bigger
He's
role
Axel
than the
Foley to me, yeah. He's Axel Foley to me. But, again, it's all about your age, I think, in who you know a guy or how you know – well, certain guys. Because, for a lot of people, George Clooney's Batman when he's, a lot of people –
I don't think anybody. I mean, I always make that take as a joke that George Clooney. I don't think anybody actually believes that George Clooney's the best. I mean, honestly, to me,
well, James Bond then is, I guess, a better represent. For your age group, it's always who's your James Bond. Like Pierce Brosnan was my James Bond. That's just who I grew up with is my James Bond. And then now the newest one. What's his name?
Daniel Craig. I love Daniel.
Daniel Craig is fantastic, but for me, the nostalgia of James Bond is Pierce Brosnan, when others obviously is Sean Connery or somebody else. So,
yeah, that's probably fair, I would say. But I mean,
underrated. We haven't talked Sean Connery. God, he's fantastic.
You can call him underrated. He's one of the biggest actors of all time. He's knighted for his acting.
I mean, he's fantastic. We don't ever talk about him though. Why don't we talk about him? He should have been Batman.
Can you do a Sean Connery impression? Let's hear it.
No.
Come on.
I
just talked over you. Go ahead.
The Rock.
I can do. Oh wait, I can do a Sean Connery impression. I think.
Go for it.
I only have myself to blame.
No, nice.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah. I guess as long as you just use the list, but you're good, right?
Well, listen, here's another take. Since we're talking about James Bond, you know who at one point was the highest odds to replace Daniel Craig as James Bond? I don't know if he still is. But I know
Idris Elba, right?
Yeah.
No. Cillian Murphy, Peaky Blinders, baby.
Yeah.
That would transform.
I'd rather have Idris Elba.
I do think Idris Elba is insanely talented. Now, this is a tough spot because I do love Cillian Murphy, not to the extent that you do. You would blow him at this point, but I also truthfully this is one of the very rare instances where I would love to see James Bond as a African American character. I think that would just be a good little kind of. I think his character lends, like the swag he has, I think it just fits kind of perfect.
Idris Elba was fantastic in Beast of No Nation.
Idris Elba was fantastic in anything he touches.
Even The Office, he was pretty good at. Charles Minor.
I mean, I'm aware of the effect I have on women.
Yeah. It's good office quote.
I was actually thinking today about the scene where, the president there calls him in the office. He's like, all right, he goes, Jim, you want to come in the office? And Idris Elba was like, I've been using Dwight as my main guy.
Dwight's my guy. Dwight's my guy.
Yeah, I know. He goes, I find that extremely bizarre.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch The Office, but it's not on anything anymore. But man, all right, Nick. What's Michael Scott's middle name?
Gary.
All right. What's Dwight's middle name?
Kurt.
All right,
Come on.
Kurt. Yeah. All right. No, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah,
listen. Yeah, so I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Remember when Jim makes his name tag and it's super huge, the laminate's super huge, and the name tag itself is really small in it, and he says his middle name is Fart.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I love that fucking show.
That very first time that Jim meets Idris Elba, right? They get off on the road because we're in the tuxedo at work.
Yeah,
because Dwight sent the memo about the dress code.
Yeah, is it classy enough?
Yeah.
Day class A. Yes.
Michael, you didn't say he was coming. He's like, what are you talking about? You look great. You're fine.
Yeah, you look great. What are you talking
I got a buddy of mine who huge Office fan as well, and he'll send me like deep cuts to see if I can like play along with. Like the other day, he sent me like 1, 2, 3, 4 Splendas in your car. Every once in a while, he'll throw a deep cut at me, and I'll just like go along with it, and then we'll be like, yeah, only real ones, no.
Exactly, only the realist.
Yeah. So anyway, Wayne. So we talked way too much about Coming to America, even though it mostly wasn't about.
It wasn't really talk. It was just entertainment talk at this point, which I'm always good with. Yeah, we'll try to work in an Infinity 5 or maybe another game next week, our next episode. Because those
next episode we got the big board, right?
Yeah, I know we got the big board. I mean, are we doing an hour? I'll do an hour. Don't tempt me with a good time. I'll break all 25 down if you want to go there, bro.
Yeah, maybe not a full hour. Yeah, we'll think of something. Again, I always like the pop culture stuff, and if Nick has an issue with it, it's going to be a lot of debates on leading up to it, because I love talking music and I love talking movies or whatever it is. It's definitely part of the show. So here's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you do like us talking movies and music and comedians, let us know. Tell Nick that you hate him. I know you guys love doing that on YouTube. Because Nick,
that's the thing.
This is not a joke. I was joking that Nick wanted to talk about this. This was all my idea, and Nick didn't want to do it in case you couldn't tell from the sarcasm. This is not a lie, and Sully will back me up on this. Nick wanted to talk about Oprah and the Queen and Meghan Markle.
He did.
Yeah, serious stuff. It's a hot topic. How could you not want to talk about it? I mean, the British monarchy is super racist. Who doesn't want to talk about that?
Yes, let us know if you want to hear us talk about the British monarchy.
When has the British monarchy not been racist? Like, that's not news.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I think in today's American society, it is kind of.
It's not America.
I agree, but for some reason people care. Like my wife cared. She was like, "Why don't you guys talk about Meghan Markle and Oprah?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I know why.
We're men.
I know because I care any less than Meghan and Markle.
If you
Meghan
guys,
Markle was in 40-Year-Old Virgin. Speaking of film,
was she really?
Yeah, she delivers the package.
Sorry, Wayne.
if you guys are worried, don't worry. Nick's wife will not be doing our programming.
She will not.
Definitely visit us on Facebook at Infinity Sports Podcast, on Instagram at Infinity Sports Podcast, and on Twitter at Sports Infinity 5. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music. You can find us pretty much anywhere that there's podcasts. You can find us. So download and listen to it. Watch the episode. Watch the clips, and let us know what you think. Everyone loves bashing Nick. I think they're going to bash him for his takes here. And feel free to bash us if you want, but I know it's kind of fun to not be the hated guy anymore. So.
Bring all the smoke. Bring all the smoke.
Kenny, what would you say is my reign as the most hated host so far?
It's over!